afternoon, my dear students. So today we will study about the sexual reproduction under the chapter How do organisms reproduce? Okay. Now in my previous videos when I started this chapter, at the time the reproduction, there are two modes, that is asexual and sexual. So in the case of asexual reproduction, as only one parent is involved, isn't it? And the offsprings, they are exact copies of the parents, and there the chances of the genetic variations are less, negligible we can say. Now in the case of sexual reproduction, here in this offsprings are similar to their parents but not identical to them, means to parents and to one another. So there are the variations. Now why? Because offspring receives genes from mother and father both. That's why the variations are there. Now here, so all the offsprings have genetic variation. In the case of asexual reproduction, genetic variations are not there. But in the case of sexual one, the genetic variations are there because they receive the genes from mother and father both. Okay. So in this way, sexual reproduction leads to a greater variety in population. So actually we can say this is the advantage of sexual reproduction. Okay. Now we can conclude that because of the sexual reproduction, okay, so this promotes the diversity of characters in the offsprings, fine, and sexual reproduction also play very important role in the origin of new species. So this is the importance of sexual reproduction, right? Because here offsprings are receiving the genes from both the parents, fine. Now there is one question arise, that why the amount of DNA does not get doubled during sexual reproduction? Because genes from both parents, they are coming to the offspring, but still the DNA does not get doubled. Why? Now here the gametes are special type of cells called reproductive cells or germ cells, which contain only half the amount of DNA as compared to the normal body cell of an organism. So normal body cell that contain 46 chromosomes, fine. So here the gametes, they contain only 23 chromosome, fine. That's why. Now here, so when male gamete, that is 23 chromosome, and female gamete 23 chromosome, half, fuse together during fertilization. Now the zygote, which is after the fusion of male and female gamete, we get zygote. That form will have 46 chromosome. Why? Because normal body cell that contain the 46 chromosome, but the gametes, they contain half chromosomes. So 23 from the male, 23 from the female gamete. So that will be 46. 46 in the case of zygote. So in this case you can see the DNA does not get doubled. Why? Because gametes have half number of chromosomes. Now how this happens that gametes, they have half number of chromosome? If our human body cells that contain the 46 chromosomes, diploid condition. So how the gametes, they have half number of chromosomes? So for this, I will explain little bit about the division, cell division. So in our body, there are two type of cell division takes place. So here you can see I have written here mitosis and meiosis. Now what is this mitosis and meiosis? So I have written here differentiating point between these two. Okay, and from here you will get the idea that why the reproductive cells or the gametes, they have half number of chromosome, while the other cells, they have diploid condition. One more thing I want to tell, that 23 pairs of chromosomes are present in our body, in which 22 pairs are common in both male and female, and only the 23rd pair is different in male and female, and that is called the reproductive cell. Okay, so that is responsible for the sex of the child. So 22 they are same in both male and female, and they are responsible for the growth of the organism, and 23rd pair of chromosome responsible for the sex of the offspring. Okay, now come to the mitosis and meiosis. Here, mitosis, this division takes place in somatic cells, means 22 pairs of the chromosomes. As a result of this, growth occurs. So, same amount of chromosome that pass to the next generation. Here, so this one takes place in somatic cell. Fine. Now, meiosis, this takes place usually in the reproductive cell. Reproductive cell is the 23rd pair of the chromosome. As a result of this, the character pass from one generation to another. Or in other words, we can say the gamete formation takes place. Fine. So here meiosis, with the help of meiosis, gamete formation takes place. With the help of mitosis, growth occurs in the human being or in the organism. Fine. Now, it is also called as equational division. Why? Because same number of chromosomes pass. After the division also, daughter nuclei, they have the same number of chromosomes. That is why equational division. Equal division of the genetic material. Now, it is also called as reduction division. Why? Here, the chromosome numbers become half. That's why it is called as reduction division. Fine. Now, third one. Number of chromosomes in the mitosis. So, number of chromosome in daughter cell is equal to the parents, and that is the diploid condition. Fine. Now, here, as this is also called as reduction division, number of chromosomes is reduced to half in daughter cells, and that condition is called haploid. That is half number of chromosomes. So this is the main difference between the mitosis and meiosis. So this gamete formation takes place by this meiosis cell division, and that's why the gametes have half number of chromosome. So when half number of chromosome from the male gamete and half number of chromosome from the female gamete fuse to form zygote, then they have the perfect number of chromosome. That is the normal condition, 46 chromosomes. Right? So you should know the basic about mitosis and meiosis. So mitosis for the growth of the organism, this division, because the daughter cells, they have the equal number of the chromosome as the parent, diploid condition. But in the case of meiosis, reduction division, the daughter cells will have half number of chromosomes, and those half number of chromosomes, those daughter cells called the gametes. Fine. So with the help of the meiosis cell division, gametes form with a half number of chromosome, and that's why the amount of DNA does not get doubled during sexual reproduction. Fine. Now, in complex organisms, what happened? The germ cells, they are very much specialized. How? One germ cell is large and contains stored food material, and while the other one, germ cell, two germ cell, male and the female germ cell, male gamete or the female gamete, right? While the other is smaller and likely to be motile. So the one germ cell which is larger in size, that store the food material, and that is non-motile, that is the female gamete. Another one which is smaller and likely to be motile, that is male gamete. It is motile. So in the complex organism, they have this special characteristics of the germ cells. So with the help of such type of germ cells, the fertilization will be easy to form the zygote. So this will help in the normal and exact way of the sexual reproduction to perform this one. So special type of the germ cells, their shape, their characteristics, how they are formed with the division. Okay, and this question is very important, that why the amount of DNA does not get doubled. So because this is the reason, because the gametes have half number of chromosome. And what are the advantages of the sexual reproduction? So the main is the genetic variation, and because of this only the origin of new species occurs, their number of and the diversity of the characters in the offspring. So this is all about the type of cell division and advantages of sexual reproduction. Now, sexual reproduction in flower. Okay. Now, before going to the detail, here you can see I have drawn the diagram LS of flower. So we should first of all see what are the parts of the flower, because when you will be familiar with the parts, then you can understand very well how the fertilization takes place. And one more thing, it's better open your textbook and open this diagram. Keep it in front of you, because if this is not clear, so you can see in your textbook also. Okay. Now here you can see the first one I have labeled here, that is the stigma. Okay. This one is style. Here the lower one, that is the ovary. Okay. So stigma, style and ovary, these are the parts of the female reproductive system. Now anther and the filament, that is also called as stamen, and this is a male reproductive part of the flower. Right? These are the petals. Usually they are colored, okay, so that they can attract the insects, birds. Fine. Now, and the next is the sepals, that is of green color at the lower part of the flower you can see. So these are the labelings, and this is the LS of flower. Now come here, parts of the flower. The first one, sepal. Sepal means this green color, and that is also called as calyx. The function during the bud condition of the flower, these sepals protect the bud. Okay, and here that supports all other flower parts to hold. Petals, that is also called as corolla, and normally they are colored. Different colors, you can see different colors of the flowers. So that is the corolla or the petals. Stamen, that is the male reproductive part. And each stamen has two parts that I said, filament and anther. This is the part of the male reproductive, that is stamen. Next is the carpel, and carpel is also called as pistil. And this one, that is each carpel is having stigma, style and ovary. That is the female reproductive parts. Together that is called as carpel or pistil. Fine. Now, here there are two types of flower, that is a unisexual and the bisexual. Now what is this unisexual flower? When it contains either stamen or pistil, any one reproductive part, either male or the female reproductive part. So that is called unisexual flower. Examples, papaya, watermelon, etc. There are a number of examples are there. Now the bisexual flower. Bisexual flower means it contains both stamen as well as pistil, means both male and reproductive parts in a one flower. So the example is hibiscus, mustard, etc. There are number of many examples are there. So unisexual and the bisexual flowers. Right? So unisexual when only one stamen or pistil is present. In the case of bisexual, when both reproductive parts are present, male as well as the female one. Now, the another term which you should know, what is this pollination, because that is the main part. After this only the fertilization will take place in the flowers. Now, pollination. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains. Now, where these pollen grains are present? These pollen grains are present in the anther. Inside this. So pollen grains are present. So transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of the flower is called pollination. See, from pollen grain from anther to stigma. Now here also two types of pollinations are there. That is a self-pollination and cross-pollination. Now what is this self-pollination? So when the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of the same flower, okay, or another flower on the same plant. So that is called self-pollination. So within the same flower or another flower on the same plant. That is self-pollination. Now what is cross-pollination? Cross-pollination when the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of another flower on different plant but of the same species, and that is called cross-pollination. So not on the same plant, on the different plant but of the same species. So that is the what is pollination, and there are two types of pollination. So you should know the definition of these two, because sometimes for 2 marks they ask differentiate, sometimes differentiate between cross-pollination and self-pollination, or what is pollination and what are the types of pollination. Fine. Now these pollination, this transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma, they need agents to do this pollination. Now those agents, wind, water, animal, etc. There are number of agents are there. So that help, these agents help the flowers to transfer the pollen grain from anther to stigma. So this is all about the pollination and two types of flower, unisexual and bisexual flower. Okay. Now come to the fertilization, how the reproduction takes place in the flowers. What happened here? After pollination, because fertilization occurs only after the pollination, when the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma takes place. So when the pollen grain from the anther, it lands on the stigma. Here you can see, this is the stigma, this is style, this is ovary. Here only the female reproductive part I have drawn here. Okay, so after pollination what happened? Pollen grain landed on the stigma. Fine. Now here, because of the chemicals which is present on the stigma and the chemical which is on the surface of the pollen grain, there will be reaction takes place, and then pollen grains start germination, and that will give the pollen tube. Okay. Now this pollen tube enters from the stigma through the style and it reaches up to the ovary. Now what this pollen tube will bring from the pollen grain? That will bring male germ cell, that is male gamete. So here pollen tube will take 2 male gametes, okay, from the pollen grain, and it will enter through the style, it reach up to the ovary, and it enters into the ovary through the opening that is called micropyle, okay, from here. So that will enters into the micropyle, through the micropyle into the ovary. Here this is the embryo sac, female embryo sac. In this egg cell is present. Now when pollen tube enters, it will take 2 male gametes also, and through this pollen tube it enters into the embryo sac. Now here I will draw one diagram of the embryo sac, what exactly it looks like this. Okay. Now when that pollen tube enters from here and it sends 2 male gamete, enters into this embryo sac. Now here what happened? This one is called female germ cell, egg. Other two, they are the synergids. These are 3 antipodal cells, and this is the polar nuclei. Okay. So these terms are not there in your textbook. But why I am explaining you? Because when this pollen tube takes 2 male gametes, it enters into the ovary. So one male gamete fuses with the egg. So egg fuse with one male gamete. So that will form zygote. Fine. Another male gamete will enter and then fuses with this polar nuclei, and that will form endosperm. So here inside the embryo sac, two fusion takes place. One male gamete with the egg cell, another male gamete with the polar nuclei. So in the case of flower, that is the double fertilization. Now look here. This pollen tube enters into the ovary through micropyle. It releases two male gametes in the embryo sac. One male gamete fuses with the egg cell and second fuses with polar nuclei. Zygote is formed by the fusion of male and female gamete, this. And the another which will fuse with polar nuclei will form endosperm. So as there are two fusion taking place by the two male gametes, so that is also called as double fertilization. Fine. Now here, after the fertilization, means what I said, how the zygote form when the male gamete fuses with the egg cell. So that zygote here divides several times to form an embryo. And what is embryo? Embryo is the future plant. Fine. So the zygote divides several times to form an embryo within the ovule. And this ovule will develop into seed. The outer coat become tough and that will convert it into seed. And ovary will convert into fruit. So ovule gives rise the seed, will develop into the seed, and ovary will develop into fruit. Now, seed contain the future plant, that is embryo, and when seed comes in under suitable condition, then it will give the seedling. And this process, that is when seed gives seedling under suitable conditions, that process is called germination. Fine. So the process by which seed gives seedling is called germination, but that takes place only under the favorable conditions. Right? So this is all about how the fertilization takes place in the flower. Okay, how the male gametes entered and reach up to the ovary. Now here, when in my video, when I explained about the tropism, chemotropism, okay, phototropism. So there I gave one example of chemotropism, that movement of the pollen tube towards the ovary. Means the movement of pollen tube because of the chemicals. So here pollen grain germinates the pollen tube because of the chemotropism. So the chemicals which are present there, that will initiate the formation of pollen tube, and that will take the male gametes and reach up to the ovary for the fertilization. Fine. So this is very important. Now in the board exam, how they ask the question. Sometimes they ask, draw neat label diagram of LS of flower. Okay. And label such and such part. So you should know all the labelings. And sometimes they give this diagram and then they ask to label that where is male germ cell, where is pollen tube, where is stigma. So here these both the diagrams are very important. Now from where the pollen tube enters into the ovary, that is through micropyle. Okay. Which part of the flower that changes into seed and fruit? That ovules develops into seed and ovary develops into fruit. Sometimes they ask what is pollination, what are the different types of pollination. Okay, once they have asked this also, what is the main difference between the pollination and fertilization? Now, pollination is transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma. Fine, this is a definition. Fertilization, fusion of male and female gamete to form the zygote. This is fertilization. Pollination occurs only in plants, but fertilization occurs in both, in plants also, in animals also. Fine. So these are the basic difference between the pollination and fertilization. So please please be familiar with the diagram. What are these terms? Unisexual, bisexual. What are the examples? At least one example of each you should know. Okay. And what are the parts of the flower? So please just have a look of this one. Okay. Note down each and everything. Thank you.